he lay down on the bed facing towards the Qibla, and he called his wives and his children towards his side, his young children. Qasim at that time at the age of 2 or 3. Abdullah at that time was 1 year old. His wives, Ramla and Ishaq, are all sitting around him weeping. Imam al-Hussein was sitting on his side. Sayyidah Zainab sitting on his side. Abu al-Fadil, Abdullah ibn Jafar was present as well according to the traditions. The narrations mention that Imam al-Mujtaba looked towards them and he said to his family that I entrust you in the care of my brother Hussein, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Indeed, he is your master and he is the master of the Muslims after me. So take care in your obedience towards him. Pledge your allegiance to him, fight with him during the time of war, and be peaceful as per his leadership during the time of peace. The entire family of Bani Hashim was around Imam al-Hassan weeping. At one time, Imam al-Mujtaba looked at Imam al-Hussein and he began to weep heavily. Imam al-Hussein says to him, "Oh brother, why is it that you were weeping? And it is just going to be in a few moments that you go to visit us. You will be with Rasulullah. You will be with our father Ali ibn Abi Talib. You will be with our mother Zahra. You will be with Hamza. You will be with Jafar al-Tayyar." Imam al-Mujtaba looks at Imam al-Hussein and he says, "I do not weep for who I am going to meet, but I weep for those that I am leaving behind." Allah, Allah. It is as if Imam al-Mujtaba knew what exactly is going to happen to his children Qasim and Abdullah on the day of Ashura. The traditions mention that Imam al-Mujtaba held the hand of Imam al-Hussein and he lied down facing towards the Qibla. He straightened his legs and he straightened his hands. He started to recite the dhikr, La ilaha illallah, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. In this way, the breath or the sweat of death began to drip down the forehead of Imam al-Mujtaba. At one time, Imam al-Hussein sees that the grip of his brother Imam al-Hassan has loosened on his hands. The dhikr is no more. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba has stopped breathing. His ruh has ascended up to the heavens. Zainab begins to cry, "Wa Imama." Kulthum begins to cry, "Wa Aba Muhammada." Farwa and Layla, all the ladies begin to weep. A new ma'atam and a new azah in the house of Al Muhammad has begun. Allah, Allah, the traditions tell us that Imam al-Hussein stood up and he too undertook the responsibilities of giving the ghusl and the kafan to Imam al-Mujtaba. The narrations mention that the ghusl and the hunut that was used for Imam al-Mujtaba was a kafan that came from Jannah. The first part of the kafan was used to bury Rasulullah. The second part of the kafan was used to bury Sayyidat Zahra. The third part of the kafan was used to bury Amir al-Mu'mineen. The fourth part of the kafan was used for Imam al-Hassan. When Jibreel came down with this kafan, he said that the kafan is for the Ashab al-Kisa. Allah, Allah, Jibreel, I ask you, there are 5 people in the Ahlul Kisa, but the kafan that you came down with was only for 4 people. Allah, Allah, the traditions mention that Imam al-Mujtaba gave the ghusl, he gave the hunut, and he put the kafan. They prayed the Salatul Mayyit over Imam al-Mujtaba. Imam al-Mujtaba's final wasiyah to Imam al-Hussein was that, "Oh brother, when I die, I want you to take my janazah to the haram of my grandfather Rasulullah, and I want you to give me my final rites and visitation over there. After that you can take me back to Jannatul Baqi and bury me by my grandmother, Fatima bint Asad." Imam al-Mujtaba says to Imam al-Hussein that if you find that there is going to be bloodshed and there is going to be fitna in carrying out my wasiyah, then I ask you, oh brother Hussein, that you should not spill any blood. Allah, Allah, the marasim, the commemoration of the kafan and the hunut finished, the janazah comes out from the house of Imam al-Mujtaba. The Bani Hashim are weeping. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya is holding a part of the janazah. Abbas is holding a part of the bier. All the men, Abdullah ibn Jafar is there. Bani Hashim are coming out. Imam Hussein is walking in this janazah without an amama, walking bare feet with the collars and the buttons of his robes open. At this time, the news comes out to the women and to the people of Medina that the janazah of Imam al-Hassan is coming out. The narrations mention to us that at this time, Aisha comes out together with Marwan ibn Hakam. Aisha thinks that they are going to bury the janazah, or they are going to bury Imam Hassan by Rasulullah. So she shouts out to the people. She shouts out to Imam al-Hussein, Allah, Allah, ya Bani Hashim, la tadfunu fi bayti man la uhib. Aisha cries out, oh Bani Hashim, do not bury in my house a person that I do not love. At this time, Marwan ibn Hakam comes out with a group of people from Bani Umayyah. They shout out at Imam al-Hassan. They say to him, by Allah, we will not accept that Uthman is buried at the end of the public cemetery and Hassan al-Mujtaba is buried by the haram of Rasulullah. This will never happen. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya comes out. The narrations mention Muhammad ibn Hanafiya came out towards Aisha. He said to her, today you are riding a donkey and want to cause a fitna. Is it not enough that you rode a camel and caused the killing of Muslims at that time? At this time the conversation becomes louder and the argument is heated from both sides. Allah, Allah, ya Shia. At this point there is an ishara that is made from Aisha. Marwan ibn Hakam commands the archers of Bani Umayyah to raise their or point their arrows towards the janazah of Imam al-Mujtaba. The traditions mention 70 arrows were fired. 70 arrows were fired into the janazah of Imam al-Mujtaba. I have not found a tradition which says that the tabut was buried or the janazah. We don't know if the janazah was buried with the arrows, or we don't know if the janazah was taken back to the home. But if it was taken back to the home, my heart goes for Imam al-Hussein. Oh, Wayla, Abu Abdullah, I don't know how you would have pulled out the arrows from the body of Imam al-Mujtaba. At this time it is mentioned that when the arrows were being shot on Imam al-Hassan's janazah, Abu al-Fadl became extremely angry. He put his hand on the sword and he cried out, oh Bani Hashim, how can the janazah or how can the body of Hassan be attacked while Abbas is still here? He was about to attack the Bani Umayyah. The narrations mention that Imam al-Mujtaba came towards Abu al-Fadl, or Imam Sayyid al-Shuhada came towards Abu al-Fadl to calm Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas down. The tradition mentions Imam al-Hussein hugged Abu al-Fadl فَضَمَّهُ عَلَى صَدْرِهِ وَكَبَّلَهُ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. The tradition mentions that Imam al-Hussein hugged Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He kissed him between the forehead to calm him down. He said to him, Akhi Abbas, لَيْسَ لَكَ هَذَا الْيَوْمِ لَكَ يَوْمٌ أَعْدَمْ مِنْ هَذَا. He says, oh Abbas, this is not the day for your sword. You have a day which is much greater than this. Allah, Allah, it is written within the taqdeer and the destiny of Bani Hashim that they will face arrows in their lives and they will face arrows in their death. Just like the way Imam al-Mujtaba was shot with an arrow. Allah, Allah, my heart goes out for Abu al-Fadl. On the day of Ashura, there was an arrow that was shot towards him.
They used to there to read the ziyarah of the Imam. But in Baqi' there is no one reading the ziyarah of Imam tonight. We read in the ziyarah, Assalamu alayka ya Nur Allah. Peace be upon you, O Nur of Allah. But do you know what, ya Shia? Tonight in Baqi' there is no Nur in Baqi'. Do Do you know what, ya Shia? The shrine of your Imam has been demolished. Your Imam is gharib in his own city of Medina, next to his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Millions of people are now walking towards Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi, towards Karbala. But not many people are walking to Baqi', to Imam al-Hassan. He is madloom. He is gharib in his own city of Medina. We all turn our hearts to him and we say, Ibn Rasulillah. We can't say the salam in peace while standing next to you, but now our hearts turn to you and say, Assalamu alayka, ya ibn Rasulillah. Assalamu alayka, ya Habib Allah. Assalamu alayka, ya mazloom, ya shaheed. Inna lillah.